Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Club. We're back at Bella Vita, Bill Leckie and myself, Robert Grieve. Bill, another big week for Scottish football. And tell you what, Rangers did magnificently. Last week we spoke about their game against Fenerbahce, their first leg, and how difficult it might be, but I tell you what, I thought they were brilliant.
They were brilliant. And we did say on here last week it would just be like Rangers to go across there off the back of all domestic travails and produce a performance. And it was a sensational performance from start to finish. They got it absolutely bang on.
Yeah, I have to say, we're always talking about liking and subscribing to this if you can, if you're watching, and make some comments. And in the comments last week after I said that Rangers might go to a back three, I get slaughtered. And
Over Barry?
Not by Barry.
I better do what Robert said.
I get slaughtered by people saying, no idea what you're talking about, don't be so silly. And what happened? They played a back three. So there you go.
I think probably Barry watched it and went, do you know what? That boy knows what he's talking about.
Get that done. But no, seriously, it was. It didn't surprise me. No. I thought they might do it. They did do it, and it worked a treat. Yeah. It really suited them.
Well, it did. It gave them a little bit more stability at the back. Also, let the full-backs become wing-backs and give them an extra presence going forward. I think Fenerbahce were terrible on the night. I couldn't believe how open they were in the middle of the park. But you've still got to beat them. And I thought Rangers did tremendously well. They had a couple of wee first half blips when they caused themselves, but they recovered from it really well. And it sets them up for just a massive game tomorrow night at Ibrox.
Do they have one foot in the next round? Would you describe it as that, or do they still have quite a lot of work to do? You're not convinced that
I'll tell you. Do you know what's going to be fascinating, Robert? Is to see how Rangers would react if they went a goal behind.
Yeah.
Because in the last three home games, when they've been struggling to make headway against lesser opposition, supposedly lesser opposition, and they've then gone behind, they've absolutely collapsed. The fans have gone toxic. The players have gone at their shells. Now, if Fenerbahce were to come out tomorrow night and take the lead, I want to see how they react this time. Do they have a different attitude? Are they growing a new mentality under Barry Ferguson? Can they come back from adversity in that way? Because he's already said publicly that they've got a problem playing at home. If they go a goal behind, will that problem resurface? If they get the first goal, I think it's done.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there's a world of a difference between Rangers playing domestically and the atmosphere and that, you say, maybe toxicity that exists when Rangers are under the cosh a little bit in domestic games. The European games, it's a different ballgame.
Same players,
but we've seen it. But there's been there's a different mentality there. There's a different feeling around the stadium. The fans bring something completely different when it's a European game on a Thursday night at Ibrox. I don't have any concerns about that at all. Frankly, I think if Rangers were to go behind, actually, I think there would be I think the fans would actually try and lift the players.
I'm more talking about how the players react, because they have, we've seen how soft they've been when they've gone behind in home games, and they're getting players back now. John Souttar made an enormous difference.
He did, yeah.
Leon Balogun, and he felt sorry for Robin Proper. It was a real clatter he took off. And by the way, I think that's completely Jack Butland's fault.
100%.
It is a real clatter. But in a if you're watching this, Robin, I'm sorry, but it helped Rangers bringing Leon Balogun back on, because he gives them something. It's a much better partnership, Souttar and Balogun.
I think Balogun was going to play. I think Balogun was due to play in the game, the back five. I think that's what they kind of worked on, and it was maybe in the morning of the game that he felt a bit of tightness, and that's why there was a change to that. But you're right, with no disrespect to Robin Proper,
it helped.
It did
for
help.
Rangers.
But I tell you what, I think there's every chance that Fenerbahce will score.
Yep.
I think there's every chance they will score on the night, and they may score first also. But I think the way Rangers are set up, I think Rangers will score as well. I think that's what gives me confidence that they'll get through. I think even if it is the same type of game, I think they've got that wherewithal now to actually score. And if they score a goal, even one, I think it's pretty much over.
Do you think, because we've talked about this before, I think when they go away from home in Europe and they expect not to have the ball and they sit off a little bit and then they counter-attack really quick, they've got the pace to counter-attack.
I think they'll do the same again.
Do you think they'll have the minerals to go and do that at home when the fans are baying for them to go forward?
I think it'll be the same formation.
Okay.
I think it'll be the same.
And do you think they'll be happy to sit without the ball?
Yeah, to a certain
Because the only time I've seen them do that at home was against Celtic at New Year, and they did it brilliantly.
Like you're saying sitting without the ball, when Rangers got the ball, they
But
that's fine.
The reason I'm saying that is the difference between when when Rangers play us at Mirren, when Rangers play us at Mirren or Motherwell or Queen's Park, they have to have the ball and they have to make the game happen. Yeah. They don't have to make the game happen.
No, but that's what I'm saying. When it's an open game, that's what suits them. The fact that they can sit in to a certain extent and knowing that Fenerbahce are coming at them.
Yeah.
Kind of probably all guns blazing.
That's the way it should be. That's the way they should approach it.
Yeah, but that suits Rangers.
Yeah,
that's what Rangers want.
It does suit Rangers. It suits Rangers' purpose. The question I'm asking is whether the players that they have, who have shown so often that they can't do it at Ibrox.
Yeah, but they can't do it at Ibrox against teams that sit in. Fenerbahce aren't going to sit in. Fenerbahce are going to come and have a go at them. Fenerbahce have to come and have a go at them.
And we saw that, for instance, against Lyon.
So that suits Rangers.
And we saw that against Lyon. And
when Celtic went to Ibrox and they go at Rangers, what happened?
Rangers played it perfectly. But again, I'm saying the flip side of that is like the Lyon game, when Lyon came and got at them and absolutely tore them apart.
It's not a foregone conclusion. A team comes and has a go to Rangers. The Rangers are going to deal with it and win. That's when you're talking. You got the levels. You go to a team like Lyon, or you got even Celtic. Had they turned up, it may have been a different ball game. But there's no doubt whatsoever that when teams sit in against Rangers, they find it difficult to break them down. When teams come and open up, whether it's away from home or at home, it suits Rangers. And they've actually got good players, good enough players, pacing the team to hit them in the break, to get forward and cause problems. I think Rangers are guaranteed to score.
Yeah, you're asking me to do. I think they've got 1 foot in the next round.
I think they do.
I think if they score first, they are through. I don't think there's any way Fenerbahce come back from that. I'll be fascinated to see what happens if Fenerbahce were to score first.
Yeah, it would obviously be if it was to happen early, it would obviously be a blow for them. But I genuinely think, I don't think the fans would be an issue. I think the fans would stick with the team. Could be wrong, but I think they'll stick with the team if that were to happen. But I genuinely think whatever happens, I think Rangers will get chances to score.
Absolutely.
They might not score, but they will get chances to score. Fenerbahce are going to come at them. Incidentally, speaking to someone in Turkey this morning, there's a chance that St. Maximin, who came on and made a real difference in the first leg, might not be involved. For what I don't know for what reasons, but that would be a boost for Rangers because he came on and made a real difference.
He's a player.
When he played, attacked down the left-hand side. Rangers kind of changed it a little bit to get Johnstone onto the right, and he was good. That's maybe the one area they might look to change things. Rangers, I don't know. They maybe try and get a bit more security. In the kind of right back area, obviously, if Tavernier's playing inside one and a back five, which I think will be the case. But no, I've got real. I think Rangers fans should have real optimism.
As they should. Well, listen, if you go to a place like Istanbul against a team like Fenerbahce, no matter whether they've seen better days or not, and you come back with a 3-1 to home, you have to have loads of optimism.
But Bill, they were that away from 2 more goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
The tie could be over.
Absolutely. And by the way, the first offside decision is where offside is an absolute joke.
Yeah.
It's his elbow. It's a bit of skin in his elbow that's offside. You can't score with that.
No.
And I think decisions like that are anti-football.
Yeah.
And the people that make the rules, not the referee's fault.
I'll agree with that.
They've got to change that because
it should be daylight or something, bigger lines or something. Yeah, I agree with you. That's impossible for a centre forward to actually judge when it's that. That you're actually saying the centre forward. Nobody can say he should have timed his run better.
Here's my argument, Robert. They always say the forward should time his run better. No, I say the defender's got to time his run better. It's always been that. We always say this thing that the forward went too fast. Forwards can't go too fast. Defenders are too slow. And if Dessers, Cyril Dessers, sometimes you think he was born offside, right? He gets caught so often. But in both those occasions, it's as an Oxford here, it's nothing.
At the same time, there does have to be a dividing line between onside and offside.
But it should be fresh air.
Whether it's that or that, there still has to be a. So even if you made the lines bigger, there's going to be an argument of, he was still just offside. I get you. Listen, I'm agreeing with you.
I think there should be clear daylight. I think if they're overlapping at all, the striker should get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But it just shows you how close Rangers were to. Watching the game.
Having said that, and as you know, as we all know, in the last few weeks, I've been very critical of Jack Butland. And I still think he could have done better at Fenerbahce's goal.
So they are, yeah.
Because although it's a surprise shot, it's a really good hit, it's right at his hands.
Yeah.
The save he has right at the end, sense. The save he has right at the end, which would have made it 3-2, is tremendous, and that's what he's good at.
Yeah, that's why we were debating about this last week, and it's worth a point worth making again. When you talk about Jack Butland right now as a Rangers goalkeeper, there's no doubt whatsoever he makes mistakes. Kind of high profile, bad mistakes.
Yes,
he has done.
But he makes great saves.
But he makes outstanding saves.
He does.
So it's a kind of yin and yang.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think.
Like the Celtic boy.
That's why I don't think. You were saying last week, could they drop him? I don't think you drop him. I think he makes still. That save at the end.
That's very good. It's a great save.
That save at the end could and may well be the difference between Rangers getting
possibly
through and Rangers going out. Albeit, as you say, the incident with Robin Proper, you're watching it. You're actually watching it, going,
"What's he doing?
What are you doing?"
Aye.
And I tell you what, Robin Proper is so lucky, so fortunate that he's not. I mean, I don't know how bad it was and how bad he is.
Well, I was waiting to see the eye being burst.
I actually wondered if his cheekbone, his eyes.
Because I mean, it's a straight.
Butland actually almost kind of shut his eyes and went, I just need to get into this.
And he's just nutted him square on.
It was just bad decision making.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the whole scene in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got to see what's happening, how it's going to unfold. And for him to come out and just clatter into his defender like that.
So, and it isn't amazing. I mean, goalkeeper, you saw in the Liverpool PSG, 2 goalkeepers at the absolute top of their game. One, both playing away from home fantastically well. But it's such a thin line for goalkeepers, isn't it? I mean, defenders. A defender can make a mistake, but then he'll do 25 great things and we'll forget the mistake. You never forget the goalkeeper's mistakes.
I'll look at. In many ways, he's maybe the flip of Cyril Dessers. Cyril Dessers, you watch him sometimes, you go, what the chances he misses, you offsides, and yet last week
Cyril
Dessers,
Cyril Dessers last week was
almost unplayable.
Was a £40 million striker.
Yeah.
Everything he did, his movement, his touch, his the way he brought people into the game, the way he ran defenders, the calmness of his finishes, he was absolutely magnificent. He was brilliant. And yet there's other weeks you look at him and you think, how did this guy ever get to this level?
Jack Butland's actually quite similar in the sense that some weeks he's a £40 million goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Philip Clement at the start of the season said there's one player we cannot sell.
Yeah.
It was Jack Butland.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet, the goal he lost against Motherwell, you could have saved it. You might have had to jump to tip it, but you'd have saved it. And there's been instances like that all season.
Yeah.
But then again, he makes a save and you think, wow, that's why
that's why they keep coming back to him.
He's getting paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
But no, listen, I've genuinely got a real optimism for Rangers. I know Jose Mourinho, I thought, actually analysed the game really, really well after the game. The way he said, listen, we were lucky to get the result we got. It could have been so much worse. But listen, we're not out of it. If they think we're out of it, that's a mistake for them to make. But at the same time, I thought Barry Ferguson, again, spoke really, really well after the game.
Yes, he did.
He was trying to calm it down. He was saying, we don't think we're through.
Yeah.
It's only half time, give it all that.
He was very aware of not riling Jose Mourinho, wasn't he? And
but he's full of respect. That's what I mean. Think of Barry Ferguson, he's a respectful guy.
I read quite a lot of stuff over the weekend, mainly kind of Sunday paper stuff. Basically.
Well, you would read the Sunday papers on a Sunday, wouldn't you?
Aye.
You're not going to read the Monday papers.
I said over the weekend.
You're not going to read the Monday papers on a Sunday.
This guy. And there was a lot of talk about, well, that's Jose Mourinho finish, isn't it? He's Jose Mourinho's over the hill. He's gone. Jose Mourinho will be sitting there working out a proper Mourinho night of how to come back from a really bad situation.
I'll tell you
all this stuff about, he's done, he's over.
He is done.
He's not done.
He is done.
He's not done. You're never done.
He's been 100% done. If Jose Mourinho
You can't be done if you're that good.
Jose Mourinho was the best manager in the world at one point.
He's not the best manager in the world now, but he's not done.
Nowhere near it.
He's nowhere near done.
You wouldn't be managing in Turkey if you're one of the elite managers in the game. He's done. He's finished. He's just there for the cash.
So
do you
not think he's capable of producing something tomorrow night?
Of course he is, yeah. But in terms of being a manager, for me, he's not the Jose Mourinho that he was.
There's a big gap between that and being done.
Yeah, no. In terms of being maybe done, maybe that's harsh, but
that's what I'm saying. I was reading so much stuff saying that's him. He's finished. Forget him.
I just think he's nowhere near the manager he was. I don't think he's got the same aura that he had.
He's probably not got the same hunger anymore.
Exactly. I think he's lost.
But you don't lose the savvy. You don't lose the ability.
Well, if it's true what they're saying about St Maximin not being involved in the team, and that may be wrong.
And you get the feeling that's an injury or that's a fallout
I don't know, but there's clearly, the way Mourinho was speaking last week, there's clearly issues, political issues, whatever else he's got going on. He seems to fall out with everyone wherever he goes now.
Of course he does.
He just falls out with
But
It's like you.
It's like me.
Jose Mourinho with the Scottish media again.
Yeah, I'm done.
Same here.
But here's the thing though, right? If he's a manager on the way down, Barry Ferguson's trying to be a manager on the way up. And I
big few days for him.
wrote about this on Monday.
Big few days for him.
These next few days are Barry Ferguson's audition to be Rangers manager.
100%.
He takes them through against Fenerbahce. He then goes to Parkhead on Sunday and produces something that even gets Rangers just to get closer to Celtic than they've been in away games and Old Firm matches recently. I think he gives himself a great chance to be involved next season. If it doesn't work out for him in these 2 games, I think he can probably just see the rest of the season out.
Listen, I'm still in the camp that I don't think Barry Ferguson will be the next Rangers manager. I still think the odds are stacked against that happening.
Yep.
That said, I don't think you could discount him. The result in the performance last week was a huge tick for him. Mm-hmm. But I think Sunday's massive.
Yes.
If he's to have any hope of being in the running and being in contention for the job, as I say, I just don't think it will happen, frankly. But
do you think he could be part of something?
Would he want to be?
I don't know.
If he's been the manager, if he's been the guy, you know what Barry's like in terms of his personality, would he be willing to be the number 2 to someone else? Depends who that is, I suppose. Maybe not.
Well,
it could be better than what he's maybe doing beforehand. I don't know.
It depends where they go with these things. If the new people come in and say, well, we like this guy, Barry Ferguson, but we think we maybe need a more senior figure over him.
What will be interesting, I was thinking about this the other day, I wonder, Barry Ferguson in the last few years has obviously decided that management isn't for him. Mm-hmm. The jobs that he did before Alloa and previous jobs, he's decided to step away from it, get into the media and just basically kind of give up essentially on being a manager. It's not for him. I wonder if this is kind of sparked that again for him. And even if he's not to become the next Rangers manager, if he decides, listen, I've still got something to offer management. Now, I think the difficulty for Barry now is that if he doesn't go to Rangers or become the next Rangers manager, then what kind of job is he going to get?
Well, that's why these 2 games are huge.
Yeah, because I think part of what makes him a good candidate for this job is because it's Rangers. Mm-hmm. And the passion that he's got for the job.
Absolutely.
If he was to become the next Motherwell manager or the next St Mirren manager or the next Kilmarnock manager, would he have that same...
But I don't know. I'm not talking about him taking a job further down the... I don't see that. I don't see him being at St Mirren or Motherwell or Kilmarnock, whatever. But if you're maybe sitting down south, you might say, well, he beat Fenerbahce. That was a right good performance against Celtic in the last 2 Old Firm. He's done really well in the last couple of Old Firm games. Actually, do you know what? We could take so it's a huge few days in terms of, right, does he even put himself in the frame to be talked to become the next Rangers manager? Or does he, as you say, rekindle his chances of actually being a manager? Because let's be honest, his record as a manager so far is not good. It's not good. His percentages aren't good.
We spoke about this before. I think it's Barry's far suited
to being a better manager of better players.
To be working with better players.
Absolutely.
Because that's the level he was at as a player. That was the environment he operated in. Now, I'm not saying a lot of managers, like Scott Brown, he's going down to Ayr and with due respect to it, and he's getting a tune out of them. And he's making that. You suspect at one point Scott Brown will get another step up, and then he can. But
you can also see Scott Brown's frustration at
the
guys because he is more used to guys being able to do things first time.
But at the same time, Barry even was a level below that. Barry was part-time footballers, and I think that's a world of a difference between.
It would have driven him nuts.
Probably standards and guys that are coming from their work.
Part-time players in Scotland. Most of them that I know have very high standards.
Of course they do.
What they don't have is that instinct that the top full-time players have. A Barry Ferguson. So Barry Ferguson says, I think we talked about this before. Let's do this exercise. There you go. And they go, we need to be shown this 3 times, and that would drive him nuts. So you're right. He could probably work better with better players.
Yeah.
But the next few days for him are absolutely enormous.
Yeah. I also think as well because I think it has to be in this Old Firm game at Celtic Park. Obviously, there's one more. After the split, we've seen examples before of Rangers winning
when the league's done.
Aye. And the league's done already.
Yeah, but
in all intents and purposes. But
in terms of
going to Celtic Park, I mean, I think Michael Beale got a result in the last one. It can almost paper over the cracks a little bit when it's
especially when they've got fans back at Parkhead on Sunday for the first time. They need to, because too often the pattern you've seen in an Old Firm game at Parkhead is Rangers come out the traps, hit some long balls. try to get behind Celtic. Celtic go, okay, muddle through. 10, 15 minutes in, Celtic start settling down, get the ball, pass the ball, Rangers can't match them for movement and passing, the ball goes wide and suddenly it's 3-0. And that's the way it's gone, and he has to change that pattern.
Yeah. But maybe what happens on Thursday will have a huge bearing on what
it
happens on Sunday.
Will.
If Rangers were to get through,
yeah.
And I'm going to stick my neck in the line, so I think they will get through.
I think you're probably right.
It's not a huge sticking neck in line, but I think they will get through. And
I
think
so.
I'll give them a huge boost. You then go into Sunday. Again, it's in the grand scheme of the Premiership season, it's not going to change anything, but it could change a lot for Barry Ferguson. It
Absolutely.
Could change a lot for the feeling around the club.
It could also, in the next two games, change the chances of some of these Rangers players of either being part of things or not being part of things. Now, I think some of them have already said, some of them are already sitting there going to their agents, get me out of this place, I don't like it. But one or two might be sitting there going...
I still, as much as I don't think the new guys coming in fact, I know this for a fact, I'm not going to come in and be scatter cash.
No.
Take a scatter cash approach to it. It's just not going to happen. But equally, there's going to be
big changes.
They
have to be.
To that squad. And I think we spoke about this. There's guys that sitting in that dressing room, not so much saying to their agents, "Get me out of here." They'll be getting told. Their agents will be getting told by the club.
Pick a club.
Get sorted. Get organised because there's a new broom coming.
Yes.
And it's going to kind of shove you towards the door.
Yeah.
And I think that has to happen. So. It will remain to be seen. But listen, I wish Rangers all the best, and all you do too. It's going to be a great atmosphere at Ibrox. And I tell you what, if they could get through, you know, it'll be Roma or Bilbao.
Whoever Roma are playing.
Bilbao,
yeah. And Bilbao, who host the final. Now, imagine if Bilbao were to get through, what they'll bring to the tie.
Yeah.
You know, saying, well, we need to be in this tournament because this is our final. You know, and it's just, it becomes... You're at the sharp end, you know, it just becomes huge, doesn't it?
You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. We were there in Seville a number of years ago now, and each step of the way, Manchester, when Walter was a manager as well, we used to say to Walter before every game, mentioning Manchester, and they go, I'm not talking about Manchester until suddenly we're going to Manchester. You know, so, I think Rangers will get through. I hope they do. And it's a good night for them. And for Scottish football, I was talking to Steve Clarke yesterday.
Was he talking to you?
He was talking to me. He was talking to me, as a matter of fact. And he seems to be done. Not the biggest surprise in the world. If you're not seeing it, he spoke yesterday. We asked him about his contract situation. It's obviously up at the end of the World Cup qualifying campaign, and just wanted to nail down how he was thinking about it. And he actually used the expression, it's always been his intention to run down his contract.
Yeah. It's an interesting phrase.
He actually said it 3 or 4 times. Maybe not the biggest surprise in the world. We probably, if you were asking me before yesterday, I'd have said that's probably what was going to happen. But at the same time, he said there was a 25% chance that he could maybe stay, he could be talked into it. But it almost felt as if his mind was completely made up. And regardless of what happens, if we get the World Cup, great. And then he could maybe leave in the high of that. What did you make of his comments? Were you surprised by them? How frank he was? How brutally honest he was?
I still think he has. Well, we know that he has this dream, as we all have, of Scotland going back to a World Cup. He wants to be the manager that took Scotland back to the World Cup. I think if he did that, what would be the point of him staying on afterwards? Because then he's just got to go and repeat that, and but then he's 63, but 62 and a bit, whatever he is. But then I think, if he could get us to the World Cup, I think we would all shake hands and say, well done, Steve, you've rekindled the nation's hopes. You've taken us to 3 tournaments, off you pop, and play with the grandkids.
Do you think there would be, though, because you say go play with the grandkids, when Steve was asked about it yesterday, about potentially going back into club management, he very clearly said, absolutely, that's part of my thinking.
Good.
He's not done.
No, not done.
He's not going to squit Scotland in the next few months or year and go and sit in the park watching the grandkids. That ain't happening. He still thinks he's got a lot to offer football, to offer management. Do you think there would be a clamour? Do you think, because...
Oh, he'll get another job, aye.
No, I don't mean another job, but do you think the Scotland fans would want him to stay? Do you think en masse, do you think they would... Because there's a perception that we were going to... There's no perception. When we've gone to tournaments, we've not turned up.
No, we haven't.
Now, I'm in the camp, frankly, that we went so long without getting to tournaments that the first success
was just getting there.
Yeah. That said, I do understand, we have been critical that when we've gone to these tournaments, we have not turned up. The manager has made, for me, big mistakes, questionable decisions.
Yep.
right through the cards, and it's frankly Germany wasn't good enough.
No,
for me.
but that's another reason for him to want this. Yeah,
that said. So, but do you know what I mean? Like, how will Steve Clarke be remembered as a Scotland manager? There's a question.
Overall, well, there's again we talked about Barry Ferguson. How you remembered?
If it was to end right now,
if it ended right now, I would say overall he's been a very, very successful Scotland manager. He took over Scotland at a time when the Tartan Army were all but giving up, when we were getting battered in Kazakhstan, etc., etc. And he's gradually, game by game, month by month, rekindled the connection with the fans, which is one of the most important things. He's established a style of play that's worked. He's beaten some big teams along the way. We've got to 2 tournaments where we haven't performed the way we wanted to. But overall, you can only regard them as a success. And I would love to see him take us to the finals.
Yeah.
And then I think that would be the time for him. Because I think with Scotland, if we go back to a World Cup, then you've got to say, go on, Steve, take us to another World Cup. And would he have the energy for another 4-year cycle of that? So if he gets us there, wow, that would be amazing. That would be the ultimate success for him. But if he left right now, I'd say Steve Clarke has been a big, big success for Scotland.
Yeah, I would kind of agree. I would agree with that. I think, as I say, when you think of where we were when he came in,
really low.
We were at a real low point, and we've been at low points with various managers down the years. But yeah, I think he's done the job that he was tasked to do.
Yeah.
But equally, I think the disappointment of the tournament can't be.
It can't be
underplayed, albeit the first one was a kind of false tournament.
That didn't. This one was terrible. Germany was terrible.
Germany was
the tournament we're not meant to mention anymore.
Yeah, I know.
However, what I would say is, in Steve's defence, is that we are disappointed from a much higher level. If you're disappointed from being in the finals, as opposed to disappointed 12 times in a row not getting to a finals, I'd rather be disappointed in Germany than disappointed watching everybody else go to Germany.
Yeah.
So
disappointed from the top of the Zooks picture.
Aye, that's right. So disappointed from a great height. I think he has been a great success. I also think gradually, and he's, as we know, quite a stubborn gentleman.
Is he?
A wee bit. Gradually, he's changing. You know, he's gone back to a 4 because he lost Kieran Tierney and Tierney's back in now, etc., etc. He's gradually changing his thoughts on the way he wants to pick his squads. Seeing 2 young lads come into this squad.
Going to come to that, yeah, that's been a big thing, isn't it?
Big thing for me.
Lennon Miller, James Wilson in the squad for these.
I think Lennon Miller should have been in before. He's not, that's fine. He's in now, which is fantastic. I think James Wilson has such a huge future as a proper centre forward.
Okay.
And I tell you what, both of them, if Steve Clarke on the day of the game next Thursday in Athens said, by the way, boys, you're both playing, neither of them would crack a light. They'd be magnificent.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I think at the same time, I do think they're both players for the future.
Of course they are.
I think a big part of the James Wilson selection, James Wilson's eligible for Northern Ireland. His dad's from Northern Ireland. And I think that was part of.
Come on for the last 3 seconds in Athens, and that's him sorted.
I think you need to play 3 games. I think 2 or 3 games. But I think once he's in the camp, listen.
We can't not play a guy like James Wilson. He was
asked about it yesterday. Sorry, Bill. He was asked about it yesterday, Steve, about the fact, and he kind of patched the question, and it was one of those kind of wee alarm bell goes in your head. The way he patched it, you thought. That's been a part of this.
I don't doubt that at all. Isn't it incredible though that the boys at school?
It's mental.
And he's got to play for Scotland.
It was a great.
Isn't that fantastic?
Did you know? I love the story he told after the Derby
about
game.
the janitor.
The janitor, and the janitor said to him, "Oh, did you see the Derby game at the weekend?" And he said, "I scored it." What a brilliant line! Absolutely brilliant.
And he's, by the way,
he seems a really intelligent.
He's a really nice lad. He's a really nice lad. Spoke to him a couple of times after games. Really nice lad. He's a very, very, very good player. Yeah. He does things that defenders hate. You know, a lot of young boys come in now, they're meant to be strikers, but they want to be 10s. They want to drift into wee holes. He drags defenders where they don't want to go, takes them out wide, takes them to bylines.
He does, but he's got a real intelligence. You see a lot of young players, when they get the ball, they want to do something immediately that makes a mark.
He's looking for players. He's looking for guys running about.
He just does a simple thing. 9 times out of 10, just drops it in.
So does Lennon Miller.
Lennon Miller as well. Just simple thing, but with a bit of class on it.
We talked about Barry Ferguson, the manager. Lennon Miller reminds me a little bit of Barry Ferguson, the young player, where he just takes the ball on one side, brings it out the other side, plays it nice and simple, gets into space for the return ball. Really economical player, but so good on the eye, so good to watch. Yeah. And I just love the fact that the two of them, because there was a spell there where you kind of felt that you had to be the next cab off the rank to get into Steve's squads. Yeah. But there's two boys now that you think, wow, that's progressive thinking.
Yeah.
That's thinking for America.
Yeah, I actually think it's almost thinking for the next manager.
Possibly.
I think it's thinking for the next manager. I think it's one of those ones where he's bringing him in, full of knowledge, and I think the Northern Ireland thing with James Wilson was a big part of it. I suspect Michael O'Neill was probably looking very closely at James Wilson, and that Steve's been thinking, let's get him involved.
Yeah.
And I think I think you do have to play 2 or 3 games before you're kind of officially. I think once James Wilson pulls on a Scotland jersey, I think that's it. I'd be very, very surprised if he's going to suddenly decide that, I want to play for my dad's Northern Ireland.
Isn't it brilliant? I wrote this about the Scottish Cup with Hearts recently, but it's now the case with Scotland that he plays and he's in the same squad as his club goalkeeper, who was born, who was playing for Scotland before James was born. He won the cup with Hearts before James was born.
That's the thing. You're looking at the team sheet yesterday, the squad list and the date of birth, like 2006. He was like, "Jeez, I've got a pair of jeans in the house that's older than that."
Is that not them ones you remember? So I'm really happy for the two of them, and we'll talk about this more next week from over there. But really excited about this. Scotland come back into action again.
I'm looking forward to going over to Athens for those games. Usually we'll do Coffee Club from over there next week. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah,
Baklava Club.
We'll need to find a little venue.
A little venue. We'll get a wee venue.
A elevator in downtown Athens. But no, a big few days. A big week for Scotland. Obviously, it's a Nations League playoff. The real qualifiers obviously start, I think, September, and that's when the serious stuff starts. And hopefully, I mean, you've been to a World Cup with Scotland. I've done the Euros. I've been to a World Cup, but not covering Scotland.
Two.
Wow, that would be the dream, eh?
1990, 1998, and both again disappointing because you get knocked out. But being there and being part of the thing is just remarkably good.
I was in nursery school in '98. Just kind of.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's what it is this week. What have we got, Kate wise? Let's do this. We've got a nice wee selection. Marco's sorted us out as ever. We have little Nutella chocolate. How do you know that's Nutella?
Because you can get the slight hazelnut off it. It's lovely. I liked one of them. Little apple lattice tarts and some lovely vanilla cheesecake. Looks really nice. You'll enjoy all these this afternoon.
And I want them on my.
Can we talk about one more thing?
I was going to actually ask you about one more thing because you were at St Johnstone, weren't you?
Yeah, I was at Livingston. I always went to St Johnstone. I thought the game was at Perth.
That's what I mean. St Johnstone won through, beat Livingston. Yeah. What, the Scottish Cup? Is that what you're going to ask me about? Or are you going to talk about?
Well, first of all, that game on Monday night was one of the least remarkable games in history, but lit up by one of the greatest goals you'll see in a long one. Graham Carey's strike.
Just doesn't score tap-ins, does he?
Oh, remarkable. I mean, he's just hit the ball so beautifully. And I like Graham Carey a lot. He's a great boy who's
been through a lot.
Gone through a lot in his life, and he was so up after the game. It's great. But I felt, great for St Johnstone. They've got a semi-final. They come off the final, drawn Celtic. Okay. But they're in a semi-final. It's great. They're fighting for their lives in the league, and I don't think the people who run the club have done Simo Valakari and his players any favours by the announcement that they're going to give 3 stands to Celtic for the game on the 6th of April. And before we start on this, totally understand it from a business point of view. Don't understand it from a footballing point of view.
Right, okay, so, yeah, I probably agree with you. We've seen it before. Clubs sit in and take the decision not to happen anymore.
Yeah.
They did for a number of years. And it's been a huge success for someone because some fans have returned to the club. And when Rangers or Celtic come to town.
Yeah. Kilmarnock did the same thing.
Kelly have done the same thing. Yeah. But from a business point of view, St Johnstone maybe don't have the local support that Kelly or St Mirren have.
No argument.
But if you're a St Johnstone player, you're maybe thinking, can I help us out a wee bit here?
6th of April, right? What they've basically said is, this is a really big game for Celtic.
It's a more important game for Celtic than it is for us.
Celtic fans are going to want to get there. I totally understand. They'll say, well, Celtic, if we don't give them the tickets, they might turn up, they might try and get in the home end, there might be trouble, there might be blah, 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 whatever it is. There might be security issues. But from a footballing point of view, what they're saying is, this is a big game for Celtic. It's not really that big a game for us. It's a game where if St Johnstone could scrape out a 0-0 or beat Celtic 1-0, it could keep them in the Premiership. But what they're basically saying is, don't worry about us, let's worry about them.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I kind of see what you're saying, and generally, I am 100% behind clubs who decide that this is the way to go. I've said it before, we've had arguments with other journalists, pals of ours, about clubs looking after their own fans before.
Yeah.
And for me, that's 100% the way to go. I say St Mirren did it, and I think it was absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
In fact, there'll be Rangers fans or Celtic fans on this occasion who say, well, why would you would rather have a 10,000 stadium with 3,000 empty seats?
I'm not saying that in the least.
Oh, yeah, but that's not your problem.
No, that's not your problem.
That's not your problem. And Celtic fans or whatever, Rangers fans, whatever, I've always got this idea that they should be getting with. No. Clubs like St Johnstone, St Mirren, Motherwell, whoever,
look after yourself.
Should look after themselves. And if they decide, no, we would rather have empty seats, which gives us a better chance of winning the game.
That's their business.
That's their business. And I think power to them.
However,
I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion that Celtic are going to go to St Johnstone and win.
No,
but it's a foregone conclusion that Celtic are going to go to St Johnstone and win.
That might be the case, but see,
sorry, Bill. So St Johnstone, and I'm actually probably agreeing with you largely.
You just don't like agreeing.
But I need to try and argue at some point. It's a significant amount of money we're talking about here for a club who could well be finding themselves in the Championship next season.
Well, there's the point though.
So that money could be getting used to get them back out of the Championship.
See, but that sounds to me as if the people that run St Johnstone are saying, like, we're probably getting relegated anyway, so let's not bother. Let's take that big stand over there, will bring in another £50,000 on the day. That might get us another player for next season. If I'm Sima Valakari, I want the board saying, right, what do we need to do to get out of relegation trouble? Right? I'd be saying, let's fill the place, let's give away tickets for a £5. Let's get everybody in Perth behind us, right?
But they just don't go. I suspect, I could be wrong, I think they maybe tried that. I just don't. I think there's also an element of fans at clubs like St Johnstone who just don't want to go and see their team when Rangers or Celtic come to town.
There's an element of that at most clubs in Scotland.
I
mean, St Mirren's crowds now, we get bigger crowds against Hearts and Aberdeen and Kilmarnock than we do against Rangers and Celtic. That's an absolute given, and that's fine. And that's one of the great successes of that decision by St Mirren, is that for your ordinary league games, crowds are probably 1,000 up, so it balances out.
Yeah.
I just think I completely agree with St Johnstone on a business basis in this, and I totally agree on a security basis on this. But if I'm Sima Valakari, if I'm the players that have just got them into a cup semi-final, which is going to make them a lot of money, I'm saying, so do we not matter here? Are we not important? Is relegation not an issue?
Yeah, you're maybe right. You're usually wrong, but you're maybe right.
Well, I think I might be right on this one.
Yeah, okay, I'll defer to you. Just because I'm
that kind of guy.
Anyway, that's the cakes. If you're fed up listening to Bill, there's the cakes. Like and subscribe.
Do you know you sound more like Chris Boyd every week?
Like and subscribe. I'm fed up listening to him. Below, if you
need
to. And comment, please let us know what you think. Whatever it is, Bill's dress sense, his haircut, whatever it is, he loves to hear these sort of things.
And Robert loves to hear that he's a tactical genius.
I'm a tactical genius. I nailed it. Back three.
Boydie tell you they're going to go to back three.
Boydie tells you nothing. A back three, and I think that'll be tonight. Good luck to Rangers. I hope they get through. We both do. I think they will. And good luck to Barry Ferguson and the guys there. And we'll catch you next week. As I say, we'll be in Athens next week, not here at Belovica. We're on the road next week for Scotland game. So we'll hopefully it's nice and sunny.
It's 15 degrees, sunny, nice. And a wee bit warmer than this, but it's not roasty toasty yet.
Right, we'll enjoy that. But we'll catch you next week anyway. For this week, thanks very much.